right here. We're talking about the NFL draft. We're sitting at pick 14. The Ravens, they have some options. They've got some holes, right? We're looking at this roster. Okay. They could look at offensive line potentially. However, Ronnie Stanley's there. Morgan Moses has been brought in. But, maybe offensive line. We could look at the defense and we could say, okay, they could go corner because they really only have 2 corners. They could go edge rusher because, we have Adafe Owe. We have Tyus Bowser. However, he can also be a really solid Sam linebacker. So, he kind of does both things. So, edge rusher, corner, those are kind of the biggest things. And 14 is not the best spot to be taking those players. There are some good ones available. Andrew Booth is an example, maybe a Jermaine Johnson. Unfortunately, David Ojabo just had his big injury. But, a lot of people have talked about how they want the Ravens to move up because in the top 10, there are some phenomenal prospects. Whether you're looking at edge rusher with a Kayvon Thibodeau, or you're looking at corner with a Sauce Gardner or a Derek Stingley, there are definitely guys, even offensive linemen, guys like Ikem or, the Alabama offensive tackle, or, there's so many guys. Charles Cross, another one. All of those guys could be taken, in that 1 to 8 range or 1 to 10 range. So a lot of people have talked about, okay, the Ravens should trade up. Well, there are a couple of teams the Ravens could trade up for. We will probably make videos on all of those teams and how to trade up for those picks. This one is focused on what I believe is the highest possible pick the Ravens would be able to trade up for, which is pick number 6, held by the Carolina Panthers. I don't think the Ravens could get into the top 5. I think it would just be too difficult. But the Panthers, kind of giving a rundown really quickly, they wanted Deshaun Watson. That was their goal. Unfortunately, they did not get Deshaun Watson. They did not get Matt Ryan. They did not get Carson Wentz. They did not get any of the players that they were hoping that maybe they could end up getting. So they're sitting there at pick number 6. We've talked about this quarterback class a lot. This quarterback class, there is a likelihood that no quarterback goes in the top 10. Not because the quarterbacks aren't good, but just speaking to how great the other positions are. We talked about it, the edge rushers, the linemen, the corners. There's a lot of great players outside of that quarterback position. So it may be a unique draft without having a lot of quarterbacks taken early. So if they like a guy, for example, a Malik Willis or a Matt Corral or whoever they prefer a quarterback, there's a very good possibility they're still there at 14. So them trading back, because they don't have a ton of picks, I can go over their picks right now. They only have a first-round pick. They have a 4th-round pick from the Rams, a 5th-round pick from the Jags, a 5th-round pick, a 6th, and a 7th. They got no middle-tier picks. Ooh. This is a team that's got some holes to fill. Well, what team has middle-tier picks, day 2 picks? That would be the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
So a trade package that I've kind of come up with for trading for pick number 6 is, one, obviously we trade away pick 14. That's a no-brainer. We would also trade, I would think, our 2nd-round pick. I would also trade a 3rd-round pick and a future 2nd-round pick, next year's 2nd-round pick, in order to get pick number 6. So 1 first, 1 second, 1 third, and a future 2nd for pick number 6 for Carolina's 6th pick. Joshua, what do you think about that trade? Do you think that's worthwhile for us, for Carolina? What do you think about sending that over and assuming the Ravens make this trade and they actually are able to get a guy that they want, not making this trade, and then, oh no, all the guys they want are gone?
I mean, honestly, the way I'm looking at it right now is it still depends on what we still do in this free agency. Now, granted, after us bringing in Patrick Ricard back in, shout out to our $1 million highest paid fullback and / the defensive lineman, making those ends. I have no problem with nobody making their money. Go and get the Benjamins. But I still gotta see what we do. Because me personally, I would want to give away our first round, one of our thirds, and maybe a future second, maybe even our second, even either two future second round picks, to help them out, because I do see them getting an extension done with Lamar Jackson. That would actually free up some money. If we get that extension done, I can see us maybe even trying to work our way back in to getting Zadarius Smith, even though Minnesota Vikings gave him a grandstand today. Um, so it's literally still about the pieces that we fill before this upcoming draft. But I mean, that's giving up a lot. That's giving up a lot. But at the same time, when I think about it,
Think about it, Thibodeau. Think of that Sauce Gardner.
I was about to get there. If a Thibodeau is sitting at 6 and the Ravens go get him, we finally won. Because we started this year's free agency, hot. Day 2, we was getting it together. And then we went quiet. Then today is Monday. So I don't, off the top of my head, what is it, maybe day 14 of free agency, maybe day.
I think it's a weekend.
Okay. We bring back Patrick Ricard. I mean, hey, I'm not too excited about it. But Ravens, you know how we do sometimes. It is what it is. We're gonna work through. We're gonna get through it. So if we had to make those moves in order to get to number 6, get into the top 10 spot, and get a Kayvon Thibodeau, get a Derek Stingley, even a Sauce Gardner, we had to get an immediate impact player, and he had to be on the board at 6. That's the whole thing. Because, like you said, I think QB is going to be a major prospect for Carolina. And between Matt Corral, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, maybe the young man from Nevada, Carson, makes his pro day, helps his stock goes up, and even Howe out of UNC, maybe his pro day helps his stock go up. We never know, but if we had to make that move and one of those guys are there sitting at 6, then we won. So I would be satisfied with that.
Yeah, it really depends on the players, right? If Thibodeau is gone and Sauce Gardner's still on the board and Derek Stingley's still on the board, and it doesn't look like other guys are going to take him, I don't know if I would trade up, but I would trade up for a Kyle Hamilton. I would trade up for a Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah.
I doubt Aiden Hutchinson would fall, but I would trade up for him as well. But I just don't expect him to fall whatsoever. But the biggest guy is Thibodeau. If he is available, I am willing to trade whatever it takes to get him. I've been on his train forever. I thought he's been the best prospect in the draft. He didn't play a lot last year because he was dealing with a little bit of injury, and then he got suspended for like a targeting penalty, so he missed part of another game. But overall, that dude is a freak. If we could get him, it would be the steal of the draft. No matter where we got him, I would say he's the steal of the draft if we got him at pick 1. So, overall, I would be in support of it as long as we don't do something stupid with a trade up. Like, don't trade up and draft nothing against these prospects, but don't trade up and draft a Jermaine Johnson at 6. Don't trade up and draft a Linderbaum at 6. Don't do
those
that.
Are day 2 guys, literally. In my
like
opinion.
those, like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. It's just so. Yes, there are players that I really like at 14, but they're not worth it at 6. So there's only a couple guys where it's like, okay, yeah, trade up and get them, right? But if they're there at 14, I'm not in favor of Linderbaum at 14. But Jermaine Johnson, I'd be like, whatever, if we took him at 14. I would love to trade back and get him, later in the first round. Potentially, he's a guy who could fall. Will he fall? I have no idea. But now that David Ojabo got hurt, he's tough to judge. So overall, guys, I just wanted to throw out this trade offer. We will talk about, in future videos, future segments, talking about, trading with Atlanta. Now Seattle's in the mix, trading with them, trading with the Washington football team. Or, yeah, I believe they still have their pick. I was trying to remember if they traded it to the Colts or not. I don't think they did. So trading with the Giants, all those teams, can be brought up. But let us know what you guys think about that trade. Should the Ravens do it? If you have a better trade offer, put it in the comment section down below. But